Hey YouTube. I think if you knew me back in the day, you would know me as a pretty big wrestling fan. I would go between WWF, WCW, maybe once in a blue moon to ECW. But I guess the point is, at one point, I wanted to be a wrestler. Not that I ever trained for it, no, of course not, but I would always tell friends and family or whoever would listen that I wanted to be a wrestler. But if there was one way to achieve that dream, somewhat, is by playing wrestling video games. I remember playing like something like WWF Wrestlemania for the NES, and then something like more WWF games on the Super NES, like Royal Rumble. But then a really special wrestling game came out during the N64 era. One of many. It was the beginning of a really good, wonderful years for video game wrestling on a Nintendo console. It would be this guy right here. Oh my god. The giant already like going, here we go, brother. Sting coming down from the rafters to meet with the giant. Yeah, this intro is already bonkers. It's like, wow. And you already get a taste on how the game's gonna be. Of course, they're blocky polygons, but back in the day, that was more than enough. And even today, I think that's more than enough. And so we have all these modes here. Honestly, when it came to multiplayer, I would just play around with Exhibition. But if I'm stuck, well, not stuck, but you know, if I'm playing on my own, I would immediately go to League Challenge, because that's where you can like unlock secret characters and stuff. And of course, by default, the game, for whatever reason, has letting wrestlers bleed hard way. They have wrestlers bleeding hard way off, so you gotta turn the realism on if you want to see wrestlers bleed. Oh man. The fun thing about League Challenge is there's several federations you can do besides WCW and nWo. There's two fictional organizations, but for the purpose of this video, we'll just go on WCW and Heavyweight. And even for the Heavyweight division, there's actually quite a bit of wrestlers, especially in the quote-unquote fictional wrestling federations. So if you didn't want to get stuck with WCW and nWo, you can do that, but in this case, I chose Sting. And you're gonna go through a gauntlet of people, and that gauntlet of people starts with Lex Luger, brother. Honestly, there's a lot to like here. What me and my opponent are trying to do is trying to grapple each other, and this game has two different type of grapples. There's a short grapple where you just tap the button, and a longer grapple where you have to hold the button for a second or two. And what I really like about this game is just ease of play. Like, you can easily bring down someone to the mat and do a submission on them, or you can throw a strike at them with a press of a button. I generally love how the crowd sounds with the oohs and the ahs. It's kind of like a Japanese crowd, fittingly, because this game was made by a Japanese company.
1, 2.
And this game is not super realistic. It tries to be, and I think it does a great job, but it's just also great, like, you as Sting carrying the giant, who's a 7-foot tall wrestler and weighs over 300 pounds, and Sting could just effortlessly body slam into the ground. And also, he bled hardware. What I love is you can also use every ounce of the ring as your weapon. You just have to be careful, because if not, then you're going to be on the receiving end of it.
One.
To me, playing this was a revelation, especially because when you can have your favorite wrestler vault from the rope and try to hit a missile dropkick and failed at it. You just couldn't do that, or at least I felt you couldn't in prior wrestling games, which is why this one's just so freaking neat. But there is a purpose to the bars that you see down below. If you hit enough moves to your opponent, eventually you'll get a special. which means do a strong grapple and wiggle around the N64 stick, and you'll be able to do a special move from your wrestler. You can do it from the front grapple or from the back grapple position. It was pretty neat. It gives you incentive to like keep on hitting moves and not just simply like smashing buttons in order to beat your opponent. Also, I wouldn't be a good person if I didn't tell you that the soundtrack that this game has is pretty dope. I love it, what can I say? And so then, after fighting 5 or 6 opponents, you're going to end up in facing the championship match against a hidden opponent, or rather, someone you can't unlock right away. And here's one of them, DDP of DDP Yoga fame. Young me marked out for this because the music just slaps. Good lord, I just said that. And I just wanted to keep on showing how much fun I had in this last battle. And I was just hyped. And then this happens. My goodness.